Welcome to Beyond the Riverwalk, the local weekly podcast that brings San Antonio's most remarkable people, places, and events directly to you. All links discussed will be in the show notes, so sit back, relax, and join Kevin and Melissa Barron as they ask the questions that you would. Now, let's get the conversation started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show. My name is Melissa Barron, and joining me today is my husband.
Hi, I'm Kevin Barron.
And with us today, we have a wonderful guest, Miss Ramey Greer, who's just started a new service called Ramey's Transition Services. And welcome, Ramey.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming. And we'd also like to find out more about what you do. Give us a little bit of your background and how did this business get started?
Okay. I'm originally from California. Don't hold that against me.
We won't.
I started working in group homes. So I had 3 different levels. Back then, it was called Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3. So they all had differences, different challenges, different expectations from the parents. These homes were owned by the board of the members were parents. And so that's who I had as my supervisors. Later on, when I did transition, I had 5 kids that I adopted, and they started to become teenagers. I noticed that there weren't a lot of services. So playing forward several years, I worked for the state. I had a contract, and I did the same thing that I'm doing now, but with a lot more paperwork. And it was really bogging me down, and I couldn't do what I really wanted to do. So now I have a company of my own. I have transition services, which is Ramey's Transition Services. My own mother is my head instructor, and we pretty much have worked together since I was a teenager. So we work very well together. I am hiring more people, but I'm looking for people with a heart and that I could really trust. For us, the education really does matter, but I prefer 5 or 10 years of experience. So my camp is at Poets Walk Memory Care, and I have a few other places lined up, but Poets Walk is where my heart is. I also work with Alzheimer's patients. And I've noticed throughout the years that our students with different abilities really connect with people that have Alzheimer's or dementia. We are doing so well with this awareness that another company called Poets Walk in Maryland is also having this program. So it's really coming to light, my vision. It's taken a while, but we really are trying to reach out to every family to express the services that we do have and see if it's a good fit. And if it's not, I am not going to get my feelings hurt, and I could share with you other resources because I have a plethora of knowledge in regards to resources.
And
go ahead.
And that's what we parents need is a plethora of resources.
Yeah. What I was going to ask, I guess, question-wise was, what is transition services? What does that really mean for people that may not be aware? What transition are we talking about?
Change. Just change. You're going to change from, the cliche, a caterpillar to a butterfly. You're going to stop being dependent, and you're going to be independent. So you're going to learn those skills from another person other than your mom and dad.
Is it typically an age transition, or could it be
I've expanded it. It could be independent living skills, which I do privately. I do one-on-ones with individuals that are working on their budget. Sometimes their parents have moved far away. They've already aged out. They want them to live on their own, but, after a couple days, they don't have any money.
Yeah.
Paying their rent, paying their utilities, and just friendly reminders, not taking care of them, but just some nudges saying, what did we talk about? Did you buy all this today? And maybe what could we take back? And no friends. That a person sometimes has no friends. So unfortunately, you have to pay for your friends. You have to pay for your companion. So I always offer siblings to come free and going on activities where everybody is there, introducing everybody so everybody's included. I do not say no to anyone. So everybody is accepted. Everybody gets chances, but there are rules. If there are violent behaviors, violent tendencies, that stuff is not allowed because I want all of the families to feel safe.
Yeah.
So sometimes we don't notice that until that person gets out into the community, away from home, away from homeschooled, away from a mental institution, a state hospital. You just don't know. And I like to be the one that helps you with those steps. And everybody has different steps and different strides.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's say one of the things in terms of that transition, it sounds like, at least you're making me think of, is going from what they might consider a more secure, safe, and controlled environment to just being out in the public where it's not controlled and there may be that perception of chaos or threat or whatever else, and having to understand how to adapt. I've noticed that the reason we're doing the show is because we have a daughter who's 21, and we call her special needs. She has IDD, or intellectual disability. She was born very early. And we noticed early on when she was young, she would hug anybody and everybody. She was comfortable with everyone. As she's gotten older, she perceives more people as being threatening and is scared more. I don't know if that's because she's grown up and has seen the world in different light, who knows? But it's one of those things I think that has been a challenge now that she's older, to get her to want to do new things because she's more apprehensive. Is that a typical kind of thing that you see?
Very typical. That's why I'm a huge fan of Fiesta Especial.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd bring that up.
Oh, of course. We try to not emulate, but a lot of stuff that Melanie and her employees and volunteers do during the year. I also try to emulate that and make sure that that is followed up. Teaching social skills for a few months is awesome, but long term, there's always going to be something new coming up. I also have teenagers with unique abilities and challenges. I'm always teaching awareness and safety awareness, as far as just having your head down while you're walking to your car, or your head down in a parking lot or the mall, just that self-awareness. We do a lot of role playing, and a lot of things just come up, and I'm going, there's an opportunity to learn from this. And hopefully, and it would be safe. And the reason why I love Poets Walk is you cannot run away. If we do get people that we call runners, there's a combination there. You have a lock, and then we would go up to you and try to help you go somewhere else or distract you. So it's definitely a very safe environment.
That I didn't even think about. Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah, when I went over there and Ramey gave me a tour of Poets Walk, it's a beautiful place, highly secure. Yeah. So with the Care Warriors camp, how did that come about?
Well, my passion is Alzheimer's, and people with special abilities. So I kind of wanted to pull it all together. And just one day I was working at Reagan High School, going to an art and different things. And someone told me, my son has a servant heart. What can you do for him? And it just God told me this, and I'm going to try it. So I went over to the closest nursing home or assisted living to Reagan, and I talked to the activity director. And that was about 5 years ago. And from then on, I just keep getting calls. People know, parents know that Ramey works in this field. And I've taken care of them, even my graduates. They've taken care of me. And I just add to my family. And help no matter what.
So logistically, you've got to put together this program. Doing that, I'm assuming, through the experience and through the contacts you have. How do you find the people, or how do the people find you in order to understand what this is about? Because honestly, the first time I saw transition services, I'm thinking, okay, I need more information. What does this really mean? So how do you get that message out? How do you reach the community that you need to?
Well, I started out by attending Fiesta Special events, and I met a lot of parents that also didn't know about the program. Yeah. So I think my face has been recognized in Fiesta Special. My reputation through the parents and through the families that have been through my services. Reputation is everything. Doing well is everything. And most of my success is through other parents, other families, and my students that keep coming back. So I don't have a marketing budget, really. Yeah. I've taken out of my own, but I do put it out there on Facebook and the different social media. But I find that I do best talking to families individually. And if that keeps me small, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, that listening to you kind of answers this question I was going to ask you, is what makes your service different from other special needs service providers? And it's the Ramey touch. It's the heart. It's the caring. It's the follow through. And that's what I'm seeing that's different from other providers that we've spoken with.
Well, when you talk about the camp, that's one of the things Melissa asked about. So I'm a student, or my child is there, or my young adult, in our case of our daughter. What do they do when they arrive? What is their day like? And how does the program work?
Well, after talking to the family, it's all individual. I talk to a family. An example would be Alma talking to me about her son, which her siblings came as well. And Junior's gift is he wants to be a chef, and he's very good at it. I have so many different things at Poets Walk going that I can capitalize on their interests and then help on the things they're working on. So an example is Junior will go in the kitchen and work with a renowned chef. That's his passion. That's what he's doing. Only for a little while. It's a 4-hour shift. He comes out after he's done that, not necessarily in this order, but he will clean up. He will do the things that maybe he doesn't do at home, because he's going to be cleaning up a lot for 99 people, 99 residents. And that's a lot. He's going to be learning how to set a table. I have my Martha Stewart classes that I teach. My mom used to do catering, so I know where to put the fork, the knife, and the napkin. And a lot you think people have already learned. This is, but you don't. If you don't do it, you don't do it. And courtesy. If someone keeps screaming at you and tells you that the soup is cold, it's learning to deal with difficult people and how to walk away and how to be calm. So everything that we work on in life for ourselves, I put it at a student's ability.
I guess one of the things that comes to mind is, if I'm which I am, a parent, and I go, you know what, that sounds like a lot of things that I should be teaching. That sounds like things that I should be doing myself. And why would I send, my child or to a program like this? Why wouldn't I just do this myself? What are the answers that you have? Or I'm sure it's not the first time you've had that question, but
no, there are a lot of variables. Even for my own children, people listen to different people at the different times, and it's that nugget that they go home with. An example is the 3 siblings that I have now. They're used to just walking in front of the female. And that's maybe accepted. But for me and my standards, I'm very old school, is you stop and you wait for me to walk through. Mm-hmm. So the common courtesies that are sometimes it's very comfortable at home, and then you're all of a sudden teaching somebody how to do something. They're like, Mom, Dad, what's with you? What book are you reading? It's real hard to follow what I teach. But you get to it because I will text you, call you, no matter what, and say, this is what we learned today. This is what we're working on. And you try to follow through the best you can.
I think we need to enroll our daughter.
Yeah, it's something to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
There is,
I'd love to have your daughter. Well, she's ideal for what I do. She's ideal because she has everything from you both, but I think she would advance higher if she could learn to be more independent. And she cannot be more independent just learning by parents.
Absolutely.
Well, being under our wing, we don't want her to stub her toe. We don't want her to sneeze wrong.
Of course not.
We don't want anything negative to happen ever. And the problem with that is I've learned, I'm coming up on my 50th birthday, I learned so far recently that I'm not going to live forever. And that is scaring the daylights out of me. So the biggest hurdle I have in my mind is getting past now what, so our goal, I guess, partly Melissa and us doing the podcast is to understand what we need to do to prepare for her future. And it sounds like the very first step, at least at this age for her, is to learn that independence. It may not be certain little life skills that maybe she already has because she's older. It's to make that transition to adulthood that took me 5 years worth of college, that she needs to learn as well. It's not an automatic thing. Right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And a lot of my challenges are how our children are being raised at home. The norms in one family might not be the norms in the other, might get you terminated. And that's my focus is the vocational side. Pretty soon you're going to be out of a group home, out of being cared for. Now I want you to learn to care for somebody else. You see Miss Franny dropping her jelly beans. You don't just walk by. You pick up those jelly beans and you ask them, can I get you some more jelly beans? Because those jelly beans are dirty.
Right.
Just different things that are vocational, but you might not think they're vocational. Well, so I always offer families to watch me for a day or to come over for a day and actually see what I do or what my mother does.
I was listening to you. Just in that little description you gave, there's a lot of decisions that someone has to make in that little process.
Yep.
Is it a norm that I should help? If I do help, what should I do with these things? Do I need to get more?
And
Does
how do you
person want me to
process?
help?
Yeah.
There's a lot in that little thing, and you don't think about that on a day-to-day basis because it's just,
because it comes natural for us.
Well, once you learn it, it's natural.
Right.
Some people just haven't learned it yet.
Right. It's all teachable, just at different stages of your life. That's why I don't force people to go into the program. I don't force children to stay or teenagers to stay because it just might not be the right timing. And that's okay. You can come back. Or I'll find you another place where maybe you'll like better.
Yeah. Yeah. It all depends on fit. What are some of the most common challenges? What are the things that if I'm sitting at home listening to this and I'm thinking, oh, my child has this thing, is this really common? Is this not? What do you typically see for new students? What are the original hurdles maybe that are common, or are there?
Oh, there are, but not a lot are common. But what I've been getting the last 5 years are the phones and the right to have your phone. And are you going to put it in Miss Ramey's purse or Miss Ramey's locker because it's not acceptable? I'll have students that get asked to leave from a kitchen area or from a lobby area because they're not doing the work. They're looking on their phone. Soon as I turn a corner to go help someone else, they have their phone back out. So if a parent says it's their right to have their phone, I want them to check in with me every 30 minutes, probably not going to work.
Yeah.
Because it's a 4-hour shift.
Well, and that's not independent either.
Yes,
Yeah,
but some parents want that. So I just help the parents maybe go 40 minutes, maybe go 50 minutes, but ideally only during your lunch break and just half of your lunch break because we're going to talk to each other. So that's probably my biggest challenge the last 5 years is technology.
Yes, technology is what's caused that.
And that's not unique to kids with different abilities or special needs, right? That's right. Common to all of us.
And if they see other staff members utilizing their phone or making bad choices, they'll come up to me and say, hey, how come nurse so-and-so is on her phone and this, that, and the other? So I'll take them to the nurses and say, could you show what you're doing on your tablet? And it will be because of work. They'll have their cases and their information on their tablet. So I show them the difference. She's not playing on her iPad. She's writing her case notes in, and that just fascinates them. The different things we could do with our tablets and our phone that doesn't necessarily have to do with social media and having that kind of relationship with people that you're not seeing or engaging with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's one of the things we're having. We our daughter likes to do Pokemon Go on her phone, so she's really not a texter. But if you tell her to put her phone away, she will. You know, it's usually just to pass the time when she's quote unquote bored. But if she's busy doing something, you give her a task, she'll do it. Well, and she wants to do it right.
It becomes habitual because certain people that I'm married to do the same thing a lot when they're watching TV at night. And I do it sometimes because...
Sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes. Because it's... Yeah,
See, we all do it.
It's
I'm
a habit,
addicted to my phone too.
Yeah.
But it's such a powerful thing. I want our daughter to know how to use it. I want her to know how to use social media, to not be scared to reach out to friends and contact them. And I don't think it's necessarily fear for her. It just doesn't seem like she has an interest in it.
It's just not natural for her.
She likes games and all those other kind of things, but she doesn't do the other. She seems to do better once she knows someone in person, which is great because sometimes I have trouble with that. I'm better through technology sometimes.
He's the introvert.
Yeah, I'm the introverted person. But, well, I guess one thing that came to mind to me, too, I'm hogging the microphone.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're thinking of things I hadn't thought of. That's wonderful.
Well, I'm just thinking at the moment of stuff that's in my brain. And I guess that's one of them is that, you know, growing up, when you have a child in the school system, there's these IEPs. So every year or periodically you get updates.
Every 6 months.
Yeah. And you set out, here are the goals, right? I'm in the business world. You set out goals. You have to meet your goals. How do you establish, or are there goals established for each person that's in the program? Are they unique? Do you need goals? I mean, I don't know how this works. So,
I've been doing this so long, and when we did all these family action plans and different reports for millions of years, I've noticed that really doesn't help. What helps is me talking to you, you talking to me. Today, she jumped over this hurdle. Yeah. Let's see if she can jump over 2 hurdles tomorrow. Now, if you want me to write a report, I could write a full report, 80 pages. I could look at an ARD. I could look at an IEP. But I'm with her. I'm with her in the trenches. Yeah. So maybe a goal that was in high school isn't a good goal now. But I will read the ARD. I go to ARDs when people ask me to go to ARDs. I've been to many ARDs. I think a few high schools wish I didn't, but probably many high schools wish I didn't. But I help. I'm also an autism advocate, special needs advocate. I will go and I will ask those hard questions. I think I asked you a hard question, and I felt bad for asking it, but I was just like, I got to. This is for Emma. I have to ask her this question.
No, and it was fine. I wasn't offended.
Yeah.
Just asked the
question.
What
question was it?
Was it at breakfast that time?
Mm-hmm. About Emma.
Oh, you asked if she was on the spectrum.
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I asked you what she's going to do next.
Yes, that was the question. And I honestly said I didn't know. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing this.
And that opens a whole dialogue for me. Not that I'm an expert in raising children by no means, but I have the resources to provide that extra support. I know the good, the bad, and the ugly. If I hear bad reports and, I know APS is called, you've been closed down a few times, I will ask the parent, do you want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
And if they ask, yes. If they don't, I'm just not going to say anything unless it's super, super bad and I think the child's at risk.
Yeah.
Or the adult's at risk, rather.
Well, that's the thing in this case is, we know what Emma likes, but we don't know what she's fully capable of. We don't know what she wants to do. If someone would say, we'll take care of your monetary needs and you play Pokemon Go or you go to Disney World 24/7, she would be great, right? I would be great under those circumstances. I don't have a problem in the world with that. But at the same time, we don't know because what we've heard over the years is this diagnosis and this IQ rating. And, all those things tend to form in your head as, little, I don't know what you call it, little perimeters, little boxes.
Little boxes.
Yeah, that make you feel like, okay, well, the world was this big when she was born. And now it's this big. It's much smaller. This is where we have to figure out her life. And I feel responsible as a parent. I'm supposed to figure out her life, but I really can't because I don't know what she wants to do.
So we have to explore and explore and explore. And some days you're going to have bad days, and it was a bad experience. But you're going to learn from it and move forward. Whereas a parent, I don't want my own children to experience the bad. I want them to listen to me. Nope, that's not going to happen. So that's how I learned from my own experience. I've had 24 foster children, adopted 5. I just kind of live it. Yeah. I live it day and night so I can talk about it because I feel that, that is where I'm supposed to be.
Well, and I think that's what it takes to be where you are, because it's not easy, I'm sure. I mean, we have one child, and it sometimes doesn't seem easy, but it's a blessing nonetheless, because I over the years, when you're sitting in children's hospitals or you have surgeries going on or you whatever else, you reel your mind back and you go, really, is this what I was hoping was going to happen? Is this really what I can deal with? Gee, could it have been different? And usually when I reel that stuff back and, move the film backwards and start over again, it's like, yeah, I would do this all over. I wouldn't want her to go through it again, but I would do this all over again because I know the blessing that she is. It's just that when you don't know the answer to what that question is, what is she going to do next? What are we going to do? It's just paralyzing.
It is. It's very paralyzing.
And that's the fear. And that's the thing with this whole show, this podcast, was that I feel like over our years, we have mostly been paralyzed. Not most of the time. We have done what we needed to do. We've gotten to all the appointments. We've done the assessments. We've tried to find every program that we thought could help. She's been in a lot of them. She's done, I think, amazingly well. She's done amazingly well with what she has and the resources she has. But at the same time, when it comes to making the big decision, I don't want to make the wrong one. So you don't make one sometimes. Not always, but sometimes.
Or you push it off.
Yeah, or you wait, well, we'll do it next year after this birthday. Or we'll do it after we, do that. Or we move to the new house. Or whatever it is. You just keep finding a reason instead of just saying, okay,
Bite the bullet, let's do it.
Yeah, her future is today. It's not a year from now. It's not 10 years from now. If she was 5 and we were having this conversation, I would feel less stressed because I felt like, okay, there's more time ahead. Well, now she's 21. So I'm feeling the pressure that we have to do something more for her. But there are people, I'm sure, that are listening that have a 5-year-old or a 1-year-old and are just as paralyzed or just as fearful. And they don't want to be, trust me, from my opinion, you don't want to be that fearful with, at this age. You'd rather do it then, trust me.
When your heart can handle it.
Yeah, learn as much as you can and find people like Ramey that can help. What advice do you have, I guess, for people that are at that age? They have a younger child. Maybe they're not ready yet for, the vocational
transition
training
and all
or whatever else. But how do they prepare? How do they research?
We have so many early intervention programs in San Antonio. I would definitely start with Any Baby Can, which has always been the best for me. They answer all the questions that I might not know because I don't have youths that young in my own family. I'm from California. They didn't come till we were set. One was 7, one was 9. So I didn't have the early intervention here. But for one of my daughters, which was intensively fragile, every move she made. So I feel you when you're talking about the medically fragile. Yeah. I had to find it. I had to find what felt good, not what everybody said was the best. Just, I'm going to leave because this doctor's a little bit arrogant. I don't think he knows what he's talking about. Yeah. And I'm going to go somewhere else.
And that's a tough thing, too,
and
because you feel like...
That's just, you follow your heart. You have to follow your heart in this day and age and listen to people, listen to what they're saying and how they're feeling. And that's how you do it. And you both have done the most important thing for Emma. You've nurtured her. You've provided a house, food, and love. There are so many that I have that do not have love. They have, I'm embarrassed by my child. Take care of him. Do something. Or my child's not going to leave the room. I'm going to keep the door locked because he or she is going to embarrass me. So maybe you can come over for just a little while and talk to her, but I bet you won't get her out of her room. I have that student that's been with me for a few years, and we got her out of that room. We got her to our facility, but sometimes she goes back a little bit.
Yeah.
She regresses a little bit. She's embarrassed because her other siblings are at a university and don't have the same life she has.
Mm-hmm.
So we make the best of it there. She's like the head care warrior, and she's accountable. She knows she has to be there on time. She has to give of herself. And she's doing all that, and then her mind's not on what her sisters are doing or what other people are doing to get through life.
She's preoccupied.
And she feels very important because she is, and she's needed.
Good. That's good.
Well, that makes a big difference because that's what everybody wants to be. You know?
Everybody wants to be needed and loved.
Yeah. And it's hard because I think we tend to make fulfilling those two needs awfully complicated. And it doesn't need to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't need to be. We are overthinkers.
Yeah. Well, I think this has been really helpful.
Yeah, we're going to have Ramey back.
It would be great. And you talked about Any Baby Can. We'd love to we need to talk to them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There's just the whole goal of the show, as I said earlier, is just to understand more about what resources are available, things that maybe we could have used when we were younger, when our daughter was younger, but also the things that are available now that you can plan for in the future. So you want me to try to wrap up a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. So anyway,
I'm still microphone shy.
Melissa, this was Melissa's heart to do this show, and she's working on the microphone stuff now,
Yeah.
But I'm just a big blabbermouth. But
Normally he's not.
yeah, take away the microphone and I'm not going to talk to anybody. But no, I think that's the whole idea for the show. And if you have suggestions for people that we should speak with, like Ramey, if you have contacts that you want to reach out to Ramey, we'll make sure that the information is available. Before we wrap up, one of the things that's out there that I guess we've been seeing through social media, Melissa, I know, has talked to you a little bit about, is this something that's a venture, something called Little Medical School? And
Yes.
This is separate from the camp that you're doing, right?
It is separate, but of course, because it's my passion and there's
Yeah.
only one Ramey, I've tied them together. So
makes sense.
the program, I'm the program coordinator for San Antonio for Little Medical School. It is a STEM and an IDEA program. So we are in the schools. Please don't ask me what those acronym letters mean, but
Okay.
We know.
he knows.
I'll look them up.
You know. Anyhow,
The he is her husband, Mark, who's been sitting quietly in the
Oh,
corner.
he
waved.
He keeps me level.
There you go.
So we're in schools already. We're going to Harlandale ISD. We've gone to San Antonio Youth and various places. When I came on board, I have included people with different abilities, which is unique. They're a franchise. There's several franchises all over the United States.
Okay.
But once you purchase a franchise, you're protected in the whole city. So there's no other people that can take over Little Medical School. And we have a nurse that's a pediatric special needs nurse. So she is one of the instructors that she can teach teens CPR, first aid, and obtain their CNA certificates.
Really?
We
Okay.
have veterinarian school. We have pediatrics that have the Mama and Me, the pregnant teens, just everything. So on the 29th, 30th, and 31st, we're going to have 2 classrooms, but they're going to merge together. We also partner with a nonprofit called Shelby's Treats, and they have different abilities as well. It is their new nonprofit. They're entrepreneurs for this year, and they graduated my class a couple years ago. So I like to include my graduates when I can. So we're all together teaching general medicine to children as young as 4 to young adults as old as 26. And the older ones teach the younger ones. And it just works out. It's always worked out for me because I'm right there. I'm not just sending forms over and seeing if it'll work. I'm going to stay there to make sure it works. And if it doesn't, some people might have to leave.
So it's skills. but it's also, I guess it's practical skills, but you call it little medical school. Is it teaching them vocational stuff, or if they want to go into medicine down the road, if they're typical kids?
Or just the basic life skills.
Okay.
Anything
related to health and wellness.
Like what to do if you sprain your ankle.
Right. They do this thing called staying alive. Staying alive. And you keep their hands on their chest, and the song plays, so you know the rhythm. You see the rhythm. You could hear each other's heartbeats. It's a different connection that we take for granted.
Yeah.
You know, what if an adult's out of the room and your brother's choking, or your brother's having, a seizure? You're in a grocery store, no one else is around but you and this lady that fell. You never know. And that now you have a little bit more knowledge. You could take care of yourself a little better, even from a bloody nose.
Well, that makes it click for me. I think I understand now. Yeah. Because I was trying to understand, is it something that's more of a training thing for kids that want to go into that, or is it really a practical thing? And
so it's it's both.
One more thing to explore in your child's life that you might have not known. Well, and she also is going to have those skills. Well,
we've got friends that and our daughter has had seizures, and you want to know what to do then. You've had, you got a parent, you're home alone with the parent, something happens to the parent. What are you going to do? Who are you going to call?
Your heart races to 189 for no reason.
Yeah, we've had that happen a while back. So things, that's true, because it's a scary thing. You have to learn how to deal with the situation as well as the skill. Mm-hmm. That's great.
And we have mannequins, we have little babies, we role play, we have a lab room. So it's really neat. Everything is interactive. You're not reading very much. It's all hands-on. So it's up to your ability, your confidence level, really, because first aid and CPR I used to be so shy about. Now I could just grab that dummy and do whatever I want. But it took a lot of years.
Well, I remember learning some of that as a relative kid. I was in Boy Scouts. Webelos before the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts before. Mm-hmm. So that I didn't think about that, but you're right. I mean, we did learn some of that. At least I did as a kid, and I guess a lot of people did maybe through those types of programs. Mm-hmm. But you don't see that often anymore.
No, you don't. We also work with the Girl Scouts to earn their badges
with
some of that stuff as well.
Is there anything you don't do?
Paperwork. Okay. Or billing. My husband does billing.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's the fun stuff, I'm assuming, right? Oh my God. Well,
I don't do cars. I don't do automobiles. I couldn't even change my tire. My dad's 80 now, 81. I'll still call him to change my tire.
Well, you do what you're called to do.
Yes, exactly.
I call AAA.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you call AAA. Oh, goodness.
But what if you lived way, way out in the country? I'm always thinking
with no cell service.
Yeah, with no cell service.
That's right. Well, I think the big question that may be still in people's minds if they're listening is how do they contact you? Is this something you have to enroll in? Is it a set period of time that they enroll in for like a semester program? Or, how does all that work?
Everything is different. We have certain sessions that we will have in high schools, and that's to accommodate the teachers' schedules. We have families that we can kind of group together, and we can meet at the library. There's all different kinds of curriculums for all different kinds of hours. Okay. So there's a 6-hour curriculum. There could be a 25-hour curriculum. Some age levels will do well with maybe an hour and a half for 5 days. And as you get older, the teens hopefully can stay in a room maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So it's all different pods. And we can make it work. That's what we're always doing, and I'm really good at that, negotiating and making it work.
Okay.
So people do not have to drive across the entire city.
Yeah. San Antonio is a lot bigger than we realized when we first moved here.
Well, especially after we moved over here.
Yes, I have students that come 3 or 4 buses, exchanges to get to Poets Walk. And so, you don't know what kind of morning they've had because they've been on the bus half of the morning.
Exactly.
So you have to consider that. We do provide meals. If you work there, you have your meals free, and they get to pick what they want to eat. Drinks are free. We make our own desserts, so that's a plus too. You don't have to send them with food or feel guilty that you forgot their lunch.
Yeah.
And that's one other thing, because we need to wrap it up pretty soon, is that some of the students from this Poets Walk will hire.
Yes. They've hired at least 7 people that have graduated from the program. They've hired a concierge that she's PRN now because she's working for a doctor's hospital.
Oh, that's great.
We have a maintenance person that is an expert on history. So he's in heaven there, because when he's done with his job, he gets to go talk to a general or a colonel that this opportunity may never have happened.
Yeah.
And they just love him. And then I have an assistant chef. He's an artist, but we don't know if that's going to go anywhere. So now he has this cooking ability, this chef ability in his hat, I don't remember who else. Oh, we have somebody that has 4 patients with hospice, and he manages them.
Wow.
And instead of writing the notes at the end, he does the verbal dictation.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just awesome. He helps with everyone, but his eyes are always on the ones that are his.
Yeah.
But then he's keeping an eye on everyone. And he was my student as well.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And he would never have known this. He would have never known that he could run 4 people with a hospice. It just would have never come to him. Although they didn't put the connection, he's been helping his grandfather for years that has dementia and different things, but he didn't put those two together. He thought that's just what you do.
Right.
Yeah. And then from our end, at least as a parent, that gives me hope, because you never know.
Mm-mm.
Right. You sit there and you look at a child that maybe you think has limitations, and it's you that's really probably drawing those limitations,
Mm-hmm.
and they're in your mind maybe more than they are in reality. Yeah, that's great. That really is. Well, how do people reach you?
My cell phone usually is always on, and then my email, which is Ramey, RAEME, @ramey.net.
Okay. We'll make sure.
That's hard to forget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll make sure we put all the links and stuff out
Thanks
there
to
when
my
we do the
husband.
show.
He created the website. There's also a website and social media, but I'm pretty much always available.
Well, that's good to know. And we'll like Kevin said, we're going to pass that along.
Yeah.
All right.
And then once this goes out, we'll share the heck out of it. I know a few parents who will share the heck out of it as well,
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
thank
that'll
you.
be
who
right.
are students of yours.
And I go to support groups as well. I'm going to a lot of foster youth support groups, grandparents that have taken over custody of their grandchildren. I go to those support groups. I do try to limit myself, but the grandparents are always my heart as well.
Well, 25, 26 hours a day worth of work is probably enough. That's what it sounds like right about now.
That's why my husband takes me on vacations. We are going to Cancun this month, so I will not have a phone for a few
Well, there
days.
you go.
Good. How did you get her to unplug?
Yeah.
Mark said it's difficult.
Yeah, you just got to recharge every once in a while.
That's
That's
right.
for sure.
Yeah, I feel it.
Good.
Well, thank you for doing this. And
Thank you very much.
And we'll
for
have you
having me.
back because
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Good.
stuff we haven't touched up on. And maybe this will spark comments or questions. Then we'll have you back and we'll just maybe do a Q&A from
Q&A.
other parents.
That would be a great idea.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah. So thank you also, everyone, for listening to the show. This is one of our early episodes, so we appreciate you sticking with us as Melissa and I learn our way around the mic for this one.
Yes.
We have done other podcasts, but this is one that's close to our hearts for an obvious reason, because of our daughter. So if you have questions out there for Ramey, please contact her. And again, go to the show notes. You can find them out there, and that'll have the information you need. If you have ideas for guests, please be sure to contact us as well, because we would love to have other folks around Texas on the show that we can ask questions to that might help our daughter as well as your child. So at this point, I'll just kind of wrap it up by saying you can reach Ramey at 210-844-5988. And again, the email is Ramey, RAEME, Ramey, RAEME.net. And the website is just ramey.net. So go out there and hit her up for some information. Contact her about your child or your grandchild or just a child you know and care about. Your
niece, two people removed.
That's right. Doesn't matter. If you care about them, I'm sure there's resources available.
Yes.
So thanks again for being on the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Beyond the Riverwalk. Send your comments, questions, and suggestions to podcast@beyondriverwalk.com. As always, subscriptions to our show are free and available wherever you find podcasts, as well as on our website. Until next week, join us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more conversations about our community.